Tonight on CTV, discussions on democracy spread across the state as well as within CSU's own campus.
Hear about how Colorado's reintroduction to wolves may affect the state's ranchers.
And ski season brings many questions as efficiency, environmental impacts, and the affordability to commute.
Hear all of this and more on CTV News.
Good evening, Rams. I'm Bailey Borkowski.
And I'm Tate Paisley. Unfortunate news coming out of last week. A resident assistant in Aspen Hall died in the afternoon of January 24th. Elena Vincent, fourth-year geography major and international student from Malaysia, was serving her third year as an RA. According to the CSU PD, the initial report was made shortly after 4 in the afternoon. While the cause of her death is still under investigation, Vincent's family and residents of Aspinall have all been notified. Anyone affected by Vincent's passing is encouraged to contact Student Case Management or CSU's Health Network.
2 people were found dead in a Fort Collins home on Monday, January 29th. Police responded to a possible hostage situation as they believed a woman was being held against her will by her husband. Upon entering the home, both adults were found dead with a firearm nearby. Police are now investigating this event as a possible murder-suicide. The official cause and names of the deceased have not yet been released due to the nature of this case. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact Detective Christy Allen at 970-416-2385.
An armed felon who has been on the run for nearly a year was captured Monday morning in Colorado Springs. Assisted by a tactical team, officers and detectives of the Colorado Springs PD were able to carry out the operation by cornering the man in his vehicle. According to a CSPD lieutenant, the assailant, whose name is currently withheld, currently faces 5 outstanding warrants, including second-degree assault and felon extortion. Following the initial arrest, police found the drug cocaine as well as a firearm in his possession.
Motorcyclist Rendon Dietzman completed a drive from Colorado Springs to Denver in just 20 minutes. A video of the drive was posted on YouTube where Dietzman was seen exceeding speeds of 150 miles per hour. Although now taken down, this video caught the attention of Colorado State Patrol, who put out a warrant for his arrest. Dietzman is facing many charges, including menacing, engaging in a speed contest, driving 40 miles per hour over the speed limit, exhibition of speed, and driving without a license plate. The search for Dietzman is ongoing, and Colorado State Patrol urges people to drive safe as they have no tolerance for reckless driving.
After the Colorado Supreme Court's ruling excluded former President Donald Trump from the 2024 ballot, a closer examination of the context to the ruling could affect Trump's ballot eligibility.
Section 3 of the 14th Amendment is a law that prohibits persons who have engaged in insurrectionist behavior from running for office. This law was cited by the Colorado Supreme Court as the justification for former President Donald Trump's exclusion from the Colorado ballot for the 2024 election.
I think you can look at it from both sides. I think that the Democrats really feel like taking him off the ballot is constitutional. You know, he did, to some people, in the opinion of some interpretations of the law, did incite an insurrection, which, because of that Civil War law, means that he shouldn't be allowed on the ballot. But I do think that Republicans see that as a silencing of Republican voices, which is like a thing that they are upset about often. And it doesn't prevent people from voting from him. You have the option to write in his name, which I expect many Republicans will do.
With the law being used to exclude Donald Trump having been created back during America's Civil War, some members of the Republican Party argue that the law is outdated and does not properly reflect modern society.
I feel like there's a lot of laws that need to be reinterpreted based around the modern era and the way that we share information and the way that things are now. It's entirely different from the laws back then, but there's still some truth to be taken from the laws that were written.
Like in the South, where all the Civil War stuff happened, they were all labeled as insurrectionists, but, you know, still, politicians could be there from the South. So, I don't know. I think the U.S. kind of picks and chooses the rules that they want to follow.
Colorado's decision to exclude Donald Trump from the 2024 ballot has proven to be a controversial decision. With both sides debating its legality in today's society, only time will tell what the 2024 presidential election will look like.
The Supreme Court awaits a decision on the applicability of the 14th Amendment's historical context. In the meantime, the outcome remains uncertain, leaving contemporary politics in an uncertain position. As the 2024 marks the year of the next presidential election, it also marks election season for the associate students of Colorado State University.
Our reporter Karma Robbins attended an event to highlight the accomplishments and goals of ASCSU. Here she is.
My name is Karma Robbins, and I am standing outside the ASCSU Senate Chamber, where student leaders and other members of the university have gathered for the State of the Association address.
A challenge to serve our student body to the best of our ability. A challenge to uphold the CSU principles of community in all that we do. A challenge to listen to the needs of our constituents and implement them effectively. And a challenge to equip and inspire the future leaders that will inherit these offices after we're gone.
While commending their organization's accomplishments, President Nick DeSalvo attributes these to their collaboration.
In my view, one of the biggest mistakes we can make as an organization is siloing ourselves off from one another. Of course, we're separate branches, and naturally the system requires that there's some friction there. But we should all be united under the same goal, to serve students in the most effective capacity possible.
ASCSU believes they are heading in the right direction with their upcoming plans. They also wish those who will come after to stay true to their mission as they have.
These walls aren't going to spell out a blueprint of how to make democracy work. That responsibility is on us.
But after the work we've accomplished so far together, I'm confident about our ability to deliver for the student body. Is thinking too small. Never doubt what a RAM can do.
However, the goal is that the students who come after us understand that ASCSU was the entity that removed the most restrictive occupancy limit in the state. They should understand that ASCSU did everything they could to save money on textbooks. And they should understand that ASCSU fought tooth and nail to get the state to invest more in higher education and alleviate the increasing burden of tuition.
Members of ASCSU are eager to bring more funding towards student organizations and serve the CSU community in even more ways as the spring semester carries on. Their missions will be even more crucial as election season begins in March. Back to you, Tate and Bailey.
Thank you, Karma. The latest climate change report by researchers at Colorado State University warns that temperatures in the state may continue to rise. Temperatures have risen by an average of 2.3 degrees Fahrenheit since 1980 and will continue to increase, leading to more frequent and intense heat waves, droughts, and wildfires. The report predicts significant warming across all parts of Colorado in the next 20 to 30 years and underscores the need for preparations to cope with the resulting hazards and extremes. With that in mind, the report calls for urgent preparedness and adaptation measures to address the growing impact on human-induced climate change.
Are these rising temperatures noticeable here in Fort Collins? Well, stay tuned. Chigozie Ozar will join us for your weekly weather report.
Along with more news after this.
Awkward. Do I look familiar? I should. You might remember me from here. Here. Or maybe even here.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
It can actually be a perfect moment to reach out to a friend and ask if they're okay if they seem down.
Doesn't matter how you say it.
You all right?
Everything's okay?
All G.
You all right, girl?
Oh,
You cool?
you bugging dog.
Just show you're there for them.
Go on, Kelly. Susie Awkward.
Hey, you haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
my name is Chigozia Ozor, here to bring you tonight's weather report. Current conditions in Fort Collins, as you can see, are 47 degrees, which is perfect weather for a Colorado native like myself. And as you can see, it is perfect weather for a lot of people here in Fort Collins at CSU. As you can see, people are skating and just moving around. The skies look beautiful. And moving into tonight, we see overnight lows that are pretty much all over the place, ranging from 44 degrees in Grand Junction down to 30 degrees in Lamar and Lyman, and even 34 degrees up in Fort Collins. Tomorrow we see that the highs will be around 53 degrees and a low of 36 degrees, which is pretty moderate, pretty great weather. And looking into the 5-day forecast, we see that the weather is going to be pretty moderate, with highs as high as 57 degrees and lows as low as 23 degrees. And that's all I have for you all tonight. Back to Tate and Bailey with more news.
Thanks, Chigozi. Student Success Initiative, the Colorado State University system, has secured an almost $8 million grant from the U.S. Department of Education to launch the Scaled CSU Initiative, a multi-year project aiming to streamline student data, establish a system-wide advising network, and expand the use of a learning platform developed at CSU in Fort Collins. The goal is to enhance student success efforts and boost degree completion all three campuses: CSU Fort Collins, CSU Pueblo, and CSU Global.
After being missing for decades, 10 gray wolves have been reintroduced into the wilderness of Colorado. These wolves were rewilded to help bring back the ecosystem's natural balance, but many ranch owners believe that the wolves will do more harm than good. In the 1940s, wolves were wiped out of the Colorado ecosystem due to the wolves' increased predation on livestock. These attacks were caused by overhunting of large game, which caused them to look for other forms of food. Up until now, the wolves have been missing from Colorado, but in late December, 10 gray wolves were reintroduced into the ecosystem by Colorado Parks and Wildlife. The wolves were reintroduced in order to help bring a natural balance back into the ecosystem and rely less on human hunters.
We just imported a whole bunch of wolves that have already got a history of depredating on cattle. And then they mixed them with a few wolves that have no such background. So you're actually going to have animals that would have not been as likely to be a problem that are going to quickly become a problem.
The plan to release these wolves was voted on by the people of Colorado and has caused controversy, with those living in cities voting to release the wolves and those living in more rural communities voting against the reintroduction. Don Gittleson, a rancher whose livestock has been targeted by these wolves, has attempted to stop these attacks, but to no avail.
When you start to get into things that you set up on the landscape permanently and that they get expensive, there's probably a good chance they're going to fail, and it's going to be a lot of money.
Colorado hopes to release 30 to 50 more wolves in the next few years, and only time will tell on how impactful this reintroduction plan will be for both the environment and to ranch owners. As the reintroduction of these wolves continues, environmentalists eagerly await the results that wolves will have on the ecosystem. Simultaneously, ranch owners are doing everything they can in order to help keep their cattle safe. That is all the news we have to bring you tonight.
Stick around though. After the break, Ruby Kayser joins us to discuss in depth the man behind the headbands seen at Tuesday's epic basketball showdown against San Diego.
Living with someone you don't know on the other side of the wall is hard, especially if you don't know how to be a good roommate. The first thing that you'll want to do to be a good roommate is make sure that you always stay quiet. Be considerate of others when using common spaces and appliances.
Hey buddy, what you doing?
I'm just gonna need like 40 minutes. Be respectful of your roommate's privacy. Ugh, my bad. Finally, make sure that you clean up after yourself. Oh, a fresh toothbrush.
Have you seen my toothbrush?
Follow these tips to get along with your roommates and your landlord.
Good evening, Rams. I'm Ruby Kayser. On Tuesday night, Moby Arena flooded with thousands of fans repping headbands for Headband Night. Why? Because Ram fans love CSU basketball's guard, Joe Palmer, who is also known as Headband Joe. Headband Night was inspired after Palmer's quick rise to fame. The fame struck following the Rams' victory over the Colorado Buffaloes back in November. As the sold-out Moby crowd and those watching from home flooded social media by simply tweeting, commenting, and posting the name Joe Palmer. Then came the posters at games, fans accessorizing with headbands, and of course, the chants for Joe Palmer. This week, I sat down with Palmer to ask him about his recent rise to stardom and his journey so far as a Ram. Check it out.
No intention of leaving Augsburg University. But after 3 standout years at the Division III level, he decided to take a chance and enter the transfer portal.
After my junior year, I got All-American, and people kind of started coming up to me and like asking like, "Oh, are you gonna leave? Are you gonna leave?" And I'm like, I wasn't planning on leaving ever. Like I was like gonna do like thinking about doing a 5-year career there because of the COVID year, and then I just kind of started thinking about it more, and I was like, man, it's always been my dream to play Division I basketball, so why not? So that first year was really hard because it was like there's terminology for everything. There was a bunch of new plays, having to play defense like really locked in on defense. That was really hard too. But then JP, he helped me a ton. He would always say like the first year is, it's a lot of growing pains, and then that second year is when guys really step up and flourish because you're just really confident.
He was one of those kids that had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I'm going to come here and I'm going to prove it, and I'm going to prove it to you. And I think some of it, honestly, is I think he was trying to prove it to himself a little bit.
Stevens turns the corner. Palmer tries a 3 and buries it. Joe Palmer.
Joe started to fit in well with the team, hitting some clutch shots off the bench and rocking the headband while doing it. He would soon be trademarked Headband Joe.
One of my teammates wore it, and he kind of made it famous. And then one game when I was a freshman, he was like, "Hey, we should all wear headbands." So I wore a headband. I was like, "Oh, I played pretty well." So I kind of kept wearing it on and off though at Augsburg. And then when I got here, my grandma couldn't really know which one is me on the TV. So I tried wearing yellow shoes. That still didn't work. So I wore the headband, and she's like, "All right, I can see you now." So then I started wearing it, and that was just an everyday thing. And then now that was last year a little bit, and then now this year, I feel like if I didn't wear it, there'd be a riot or something.
The Ram fans needed someone to root for. Palmer came up big against the rival Buffs, nailing some 3-pointers to secure the win. Fans love a player with energy and passion. Joe Palmer was their guy. He would be the fan favorite from then on.
I would have never thought this was going to happen this year. It's been really weird. Or not weird. It's been really cool. I love it. Like the guys in the student section are always talking to me before the game and saying stuff. I just find it really funny. And I think too part of the reason why they like it is because I like engage kind of. So I kind of like look at people, smile, nod, say stuff to them, and I think they like that. So.
I think that he's a kid that wears his emotions on his sleeve, which that's what makes it so attractive to get behind him and root for him and be in his camp.
I do really feed off of it. It's it's fun, and then my family really loves it and stuff like that, and the guys buy into it too. My teammates and stuff, and after they'll give me a lot of crap for some of the stuff that's being said. So.
The Mountain West Conference is very competitive this year, but Palmer and the Rams have big goals for the postseason. The Ram fans will be cheering them on along the way, repping headbands in the stands.
They're attainable goals, and we want to be down the stretch to be in a position where we can, hopefully be in March Madness and just, survive to see another day. That's everyone. I feel like that's every team's dream and goal at this point.
I think if you locked him in a room and asked him what his biggest fear would be, just like, I don't want to let anybody down. And I think when you've got somebody that's wired in that way and is willing to lay it all out there, to the benefit of his team and of his teammates, I think that's where he's really invested.
It's hard not to love a story like Joe Palmer's. This Saturday, Headband Joe and the Rams are headed to Fresno State to face the 9-12 Bulldogs. Tuesday Night Sports will have the update on that for you. So be sure to tune in next week. But that's all for the sporting content that we have this week. We've got one more special report for you all, brought to you by Bella Walser. Up next.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
Good evening, I'm Bella Walser. Colorado is known for its ski culture, bringing thousands of tourists every year to come to the mountains. Last year, Vail Resorts alone made about $2.5 billion in net revenue. Ski resorts have proven to be an important part of the state's economy and culture, but at what cost? As skiing grows in numbers, so does its impact on the local community and environment. Every year, ski resorts in Colorado attract more visitors.
Last year, which was a huge snow year across the country, was the record number of skiers hitting the slopes nationwide, about 61 million skier days.
And as visitors go up, the ski industry continues to change and face more concerns.
I grew up in a town that became a ski town, and so it's always been kind of a part of who I am and where I grew up from. Then later on in life, when I started kind of questioning, like, how did we get here? How did this place become what it is? That got me into doing the research on kind of ski history within Colorado.
I grew up skiing in Oregon, and I continued skiing when I moved out here in Colorado.
These concerns include both economic and environmental issues.
And it's really coming down to climate change and local affordability are the 2 major issues that are at the forefront of the ski industry right now. And how does the industry grapple with these issues?
As ski towns become more developed, locals are struggling to meet the rising prices of real estate.
It also then changes ski towns because so much money is involved, and you have these larger corporations being the dominant economic forces in places like Steamboat and Crested Butte and Winter Park. And those towns have struggled to keep a hold of their kind of local flavor as they become bedroom communities for Airbnb or resort destinations for more people around the world. It's hard for locals to afford to stay in these towns that used to be very vibrant sort of local communities.
I've stayed in Breckenridge before. It depends what time of year you go, like in the summer versus in the winter. But overall, it's like pretty small, but it's also just very expensive.
Ski resorts have also began to feel the impacts of climate change.
Climate change, which has become the front and center issue right now. Ski resorts are reliant wholly on snowfall, and with climate change, that varies widely year to year, and so they're kind of at the forefront of this larger conversation about how do we address climate change. They have a lot of initiatives, they're doing a lot of efforts to reduce their own carbon footprint, At the same time, we're all jumping in our cars and driving up I-70 to go skiing.
There is that kind of responsibility that comes with visiting the mountains that people don't really talk about, especially if you didn't grow up around the mountains. There's packing in, packing out. Of course you want to carpool, reduce emissions, but there's so much more than that.
And to try to combat the lack of snow, ski resorts may end up using more resources, adding back to the issue.
And what snowmaking is that you take water and compressed air and shoot it out over slopes when it is cold enough and the dew point is low enough that it can create snow. You need a lot of energy, whether it's a diesel engine or an electric engine, to push all this water up in the mountain. You need to have a lot of water, which in the American West is an issue because water is scarce out here. Ski areas have become owned by corporations and they've gotten more and more money. You're seeing them add more and more snowmaking further and further up the mountain, which is, one, really expensive, but two, also increases the environmental impact.
While you can't completely cut out environmental consequences, it is important to be mindful when skiing.
And I feel like a lot of people talk about how fun skiing is, which is great, but there's also a lot of responsibility that comes with it that can harm the environment when you ignore that.
Because recreation does have an environmental impact, and most people don't really consider that. That's not to say that we should all stop recreating and kind of stay within our hovels. Go out, enjoy it, but let's start thinking about how we can do it in a more environmentally sustainable sort of manner.
Skiing has not only had an impact in Colorado, but also on our campus. Many students take part in the winter sport, but many struggle to afford it. Clubs like Snow Riders bring students together who enjoy skiing or snowboarding, hoping to make the sport more accessible. Working with sponsors to discount gear and carpooling to the mountains, Snow Riders make skiing more affordable for students. Snow Riders is a campus ski and snowboard club that brings together students of all levels.
I think for me, since I moved here from Columbus and I knew nobody coming in, it was really, really nice for me to have a group of friends and people that were outside of school that I shared a common passion with that wasn't always rooted in classes. You know, you can make friends in a lot of ways, but here at the Snow Riders, I think that's what really draws you in.
The club is just so big that you can meet anywhere you go on campus. It's do you ski or are you on Snow Riders? Oh, awesome, are you going to the event this weekend? It's just a huge web of connections. And you can just meet and get better and learn from other people, and it's just a really cool experience.
Snow Riders focuses on being a welcoming and inclusive environment.
I love skiing. I've been doing it since I was 4 years old. We are the recreational club on campus, though. They have competitive clubs, but we're the one who has everything from people like me who've skied forever and then also people who have never done it. So I think don't be scared. We're all really nice people.
It's going to a place where you feel accepted at whatever skill level, whoever you may be, you're accepted here. So that's nice.
The club offers many different fun events, both on and off the mountain.
We do a lot of in-town events too, so if you want to just join and expose yourself to some of the activities we do and then see if you really want to commit.
So we'll do ski movies or stuff over at the Aggie.
But as an officer, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes.
A lot of times people see this club as, oh, you guys are just hanging out, you're skiing, you're partying, and it's yes, we do those things, but people really don't understand the amount of work that goes into making stuff like this actually happen. It's a lot of hard work and dedication.
Ski CSU is one of the ways Snow Riders works to make skiing more accessible, offering students a way to get to the mountain at a cheap price.
A lot of our sponsors will give discounts too, so if you ever want new gear and stuff. I know we have a pretty good deal with Weston too.
But we go through a couple companies that offer rentals for $150 for the season, so you can try it. And a lot of people do fall in love. I would say 10% of people who try it are just oh my gosh, I hate this, I can't do it anymore.
Aiming to make skiing as affordable and enjoyable as it can be, Snow Riders invites any student to join.
For me, this has been one of my biggest rules or areas of leisure throughout grad school because I live a pretty hectic life, but it's nice to know that during the ski season, every other Saturday, I'm just going to go hang out with my friends, have a good time, and just kind of let loose.
I think that everybody should check it out, and even if you don't check out Snow Riders, definitely get involved in on-campus clubs because it has changed my life and all the lives of the people here.
So I learned how to ski my freshman year after I moved here from Texas, and I very quickly fell in love with it. But what about you guys? Do you like to ski?
I have never been skiing. I've only been snowboarding.
Really?
Yes,
You
I
should
would
try
love
skiing.
to try skiing one time though. It sounds super fun.
It is. It's a blast.
As someone from Southern California, I have never been skiing. I've never been snowboarding, but now that I live in Colorado, I feel like I have to try.
I mean, I'm a Coloradan, and all I know is French fries, pizza, and scissors. And you never do scissors. Those are bad. But, you know, I'll learn it eventually.
I haven't heard of scissors before. I've only heard of pizza and French fries.
Oh, I thought he was talking about regular scissors.
Awesome. Well, and with that, we've reached the end of tonight's edition of CTV News. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you next time.